In the beginning of the film, we meet Henry, whose life is quite simple, just a repetitive loop from job to home. There was nothing exciting in his life, and his wife frequently complains to him about it. During one of these talks, there is a knock on the door. Henry finds his friend Eddie outside, bringing along another friend who is very ill. Henry's wife calls them inside to give the man medicine, but Eddie gets upset, telling Henry they missed their football match and he doesn't know how they will play now. Eddie eventually convinces the tired Henry to join his team, and they leave together. There were other people in the car whom Henry did not know. Eddie made Henry sit in the driving seat, stopped at a bank on the way, and told him to wait with the engine running while he withdrew some cash. These people wore masks, and Henry had no idea of their true intentions. He sat in the car confused about whether the vehicle looked stolen, while Eddie and the crew looted the bank from behind. Henry didn't even realize they had fooled him into being their getaway driver. When the police arrived, the crew fled, and the guards caught Henry, who was wearing the same shirt as the robbers and sitting in the stolen car. The poor guy was caught through no fault of his own. Now the police were after him, but Henry did not know anyone's name except Eddie's. He couldn't tell the police anything about the plan, and following the rules of friendship, he refused to name Eddie. Thus, he was sentenced to 3 years. Inside the jail, Henry meets an old man named Max who treats him well. Max talked to Henry often, noting that all the prisoners had dreams they wanted to fulfill before bad luck brought them there. He asks Henry about his dream, but Henry replies after much thought that he doesn't have one. Max gets angry, asking what kind of life exists without dreams and motivation. Henry, who had never thought so much about himself, becomes silent. Days passed, and 6 months went by. One day, Henry's wife visits and tells him she likes someone else. Henry feels bad, but tells her that if she wants to marry him, she can. Only her happiness matters to him. He freed his wife without thinking of himself once. On the other hand, people ask Max why he tells the police in his release interviews that he won't go straight. Max laughingly says that when they ask his plans, he tells them he will burn houses and create havoc just so they put him back in jail. Everyone laughs, but Max admits he doesn't want to leave because the prison is his home. Time passes and Henry's sentence ends early because he was so decent. Even the biggest criminals praised him and he spent his time with respect. However, Max warns him that no matter how decent he is, the world will only see him as a criminal and his life is ruined. Leaving jail, Henry remembers this. He first goes to his ex-wife's house for his things and discovers that Eddie's ill friend from the beginning of the movie married her and she is now pregnant. This man thanks Henry for not snitching and offers him a business deal as a favor, but Henry just thanks him and leaves. Now he stands in front of the same bank that ruined his life. He is lost in thought when a sudden car hits him. Inside is a girl named Julie who is upset about the accident. The bank guard supports Henry and takes him to a nearby cafe. The guard recognizes him and asks if he is back. Henry confirms his punishment is over. Henry's mind starts to get confused. Later, he finds an old newspaper cutting in a washroom with a report on a bank robbery. The report included a map showing how a man had robbed the bank through a tunnel on the back side that opened into a theater. Henry's mind starts racing, and he goes to meet Max in jail the next day. He excitedly tells Max he has found his dream. He wants to rob a bank. He reasons that if he is already infamous for it, he should actually commit the crime. Max asks why he is being told this, and Henry explains he has a great plan and wants Max included. Next, we see Henry at the theater to find the tunnel. He sees Julie again, who is rehearsing and being scolded by her director. Henry follows her to a cafe to improve her mood, and they drink coffee together. Henry praises her acting, and Julie thanks him for not reporting their accident. Meanwhile, Max applies for release just for Henry and comes out after a day or two. Henry picks up Max without a car or taxi, making Max upset. Max claims he didn't leave jail for a life of poverty and would rather go back where food is free. Henry persuades him and brings him to the cafe with the map. Max tells him they must first confirm if the tunnel is still there. Both go to the bank, and Max cleverly learns from an employee that the tunnel was never closed. They notice the bank guard is keeping an eye on Henry. They go to the theater to see the tunnel again, and Julie is shocked to see Henry. Max saves the situation by claiming he is a former theater artist who acted in Shakespearean plays and wanted to revisit his memories. Julie believes him and sends her assistant to show him around. While Max scouts the theater, Henry and Julie talk. Julie asks what he does, and Henry admits he just came out of jail. Julie asks if he committed murder, but Henry says it's a long story for another time. Max discovers the tunnel connects to the theater's green room, and they must secure it to dig. Henry, however, is more worried about his appearance for his dinner with Julie. During dinner, Julie says she wants to be a big actress. When she asks about his dream, Henry clearly tells her it is to rob a bank. Julie is shocked, so Henry tells the whole story of his innocence and his time in jail. Julie is surprised by his dangerous intentions, but likes his honesty and soft personality. They spend the night together. In the morning, Henry brings Julie to Max's house. Max is shocked to see her, but Henry says she knows everything. Julie suggests they hold auditions at the theater to stay close to the tunnel. Max realizes the room they need is the hero's green room. The next day, they learn the main actor has run away. Max pressures Henry to audition, and seeing his skills, they hire him as the lead. It is later revealed that Max orchestrated the hero's departure. They gain access to the green room, but realize digging is too much for two people. They meet Joe, the husband of Henry's ex-wife. Joe suggests using guns instead, but Henry calls him a fool. They keep working, and Henry's interest in acting increases. He begins to enjoy the craft and being with Julie. One night, the bank guard catches them leaving after digging. He stops them and joins them in the car, telling Henry he remembers him from the previous robbery. All are scared, but the guard reveals he wants to join the heist. He served the bank for 30 years, but they refused to help when his wife was ill, leading to her death. He wants revenge before he retires. He improves their plan, revealing that on a specific date, the bank will have $100 million in cash. He also offers to disable the cameras from the inside. The next day, the director tells Julie she cannot act a loving scene because her heart has never been broken. Julie starts crying in her room. Henry comes to her explaining that she does love someone but hasn't expressed it yet. Once she realizes this, she will be a great actress. Later, at Max's house, they discuss the final plan. Suddenly, Joe and Eddie arrive. Eddie bossily claims he knows the plan and is now part of it. Max gets angry and slaps Eddie, but Henry stops the fight. The next day, they realize the opening show is the same day as the robbery. Inside the tunnel, Henry tells Max he can't go through with it because he loves Julie. Max is furious, shaking Henry and saying he left jail for this. Henry realizes he can't back out now. He confesses to Julie that they will rob the bank on opening night and asks her to leave with him. Julie is shattered, feeling used to get inside the theater. She calls him a thief, and Henry leaves. Finally, the day arrives. Henry is prepared for the play, performing amazingly while slipping away to help in the tunnel during the robbery. Eddie cuts the iron wall, the guard disables the alarms, and they pack the cash. However, at the end, Eddie betrays them, pointing a gun at Max. Henry arrives, and Max takes the chance to attack Eddie. During the struggle, the gun fires, and Henry is shot in the leg. Despite the wound, Henry goes back on stage because he cannot leave without Julie. He tells her the money doesn't matter and he cannot live without her. Julie is in shock, realizing these lines aren't just for the play. The scene is so natural that the audience applauds wildly. The director dims the lights for Julie's response, and she says yes to Henry with her expressions. Henry finds his partner, and Max is to give her the money later as the movie ends.